My name is Justin LaFranco and I run the Morning Chalk Up. About 3.5 years ago, I got this crazy idea and I decided to start writing a newsletter. Basically putting together everything on the planet that I thought was cool and interesting about CrossFit and sending it out to a bunch of people. And since then it's grown a lot. But one story that I haven't really spent a lot of time telling is how that idea came about and where I came from. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of times I take a back seat and I'm not front and center. I don't put my face out there a lot. I don't put my name out there a lot. It's not because I'm shy. It's just because that's the way I operate. That's kind of my style. So I want to take a second to tell you a little bit about where the Morning Chalk Up came from, but also why I started the Morning Chalk Up. So about 3.5 years ago, I was working for the governor of Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker. He was running for president. And I'd moved there from Washington, D.C., where I'd spent about 6.5 years working in politics. I got my start in Congress. I worked for a San Diego member of Congress. I worked for a congressional committee. And then I went on and did some campaigns, traveled around, helping other officials try and get elected to higher office. I was working for the governor in Wisconsin. And when the race finally finished, I kind of had a moment to sit back and say, do I really want to keep doing this? And do I want to be in politics for the rest of my life? I'd already dedicated my entire professional career to doing that. And I just sort of thought about it. And I said, you know what? I think there's something different for me. I've always wanted to start my own company. I've always had a lot of big ideas. And I've been good at implementing those ideas in the places that I've worked. So I want to go ahead and take that chance and do it on my own. So I took a couple months off. I went and worked on a farm in Italy. I fed pigs. I fed chickens. I made beds in a guest house. I did all sorts of random sort of farmhouse life type tasks, and I just chilled and I let my mind just think about things. And I came up with this idea for a newsletter for CrossFit, just kind of bringing together everything that we find that's super interesting and super inspiring about the sport and the community that we love. And I'm gonna start sending that out. So I moved home with my parents. Thank you for that. I moved into their spare bedroom and I started creating this product, and 3.5 years later, here we are. And we've got something that's really special, something that's really unique, and that's touching people all over the globe. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have readers in 72 countries, and they write to us very often about things that they are seeing and things that they're finding interesting, and that's super cool. So, the funny part about this story is I never really started the Morning Chalk Up to, become famous or big or create this big media company or kind of like an ESPN for CrossFit or anything like that. That was never on the radar screen. And I don't really even see us like that today. I think of us a lot more like a small community newspaper where the community is just kind of really global and really passionate and really fit and really awesome. And they love to eat. And that's cool because I love to eat too. But why I really started it was because I saw a need for something that was integral to the community, integral to CrossFitters everywhere, that connected us all together in kind of one place and just said, look, like these things are really cool and really fun. I also, having worked in politics, was just felt a lack of inspiration in the media environment, in what media tells us and how they talk to us and how they don't talk to us. And I wanted to change that. I thought that if I'm going to do this inside of CrossFit, I want to try and be the adult in the room. I want to actually look at stories critically and responsibly. I want to have integrity. I want to search for truth, for accuracy. I want to report on things that I think that we're going to care about. And we've done some really cool stories. Even most recently, we helped protect small business owners against somebody who was infringing on their IP. I think it was super critical, and a lot of people reached out and thanked us for doing that. We were able to report on the issue of pregnancy clauses inside of the sport of CrossFit, but also more broadly in other sports, and how people need to keep their eyes open about how female athletes can and should be able to continue to operate, even though they decide that they want to start a family, which is awesome. But we were able to bring that story to light, and we've done a lot more stories that were just like that. And that's super cool. And that's exactly the reason why I started the Morning Chalk Up, was to be able to do something different, look beyond the obvious, and actually do something that CrossFitters everywhere are going to be interested in finding out more information about. So a couple reasons that I did not start the morning chalk up. Not because I think there are rumors out there, not because I think that people are interpreting our intentions, but it's worth saying nonetheless. We didn't start the morning chalk. I didn't start the morning chalk up to become famous. There's a reason why my name isn't out there, and there is a reason why there's not a lot of names of who writes the morning chalk up in the newsletter itself, because to be fair, credit is not the most important thing in the world. You know, there's this old saying that I always tell some people on the staff, which is, there's no limit to what a man can achieve if he's unwilling to take the credit. And that's a mantra that I live by. That was said by Ronald Reagan. And it's a plaque that sits on my desk at home, which is actually where we are right now. And I have a chalkboard, morning chalk up. So that's kind of how I've operated, because it's not about me. If the morning chalk up is only as cool as Justin LaFranco, it's never going to be that cool. And not that many people are going to want to read it, because I'm not that cool. But if it's bigger than that, if it's a collection of great minds, if it's a collection of great thoughts and people who are interested and passionate about this, then it can be a lot bigger than just what I can come up with and just what I think about that. And I didn't create the morning chalk up to be an ESPN, to be a big media company, to compete with CrossFit's media back in the day when that was around and they were producing great content. We didn't do that. I think the times are changing a little bit, and we are getting a little bit bigger, and we are reaching more parts of the globe, and we are having a bigger presence in the sport and in the coverage, and we're gonna have a bigger presence when it comes to the CrossFit Games, and we're gonna do some things we've never done before. But we're still just a community newspaper, and that's really why I started it. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I've never ran a company before, never in my entire life. This is the first time. And it's a little bit scary sometimes because there's a whole lot of people asking me questions about things that I honestly don't know the answer to. I am, unfortunately, in uncharted territory when it comes to this. And I'm trying the best that I can to figure out how to make something that's really great that everybody enjoys. So if I'm gonna level with you a little bit, sometimes I feel a little bit underwater and a little bit like this is challenging. Like what I have going on right back here, which is planning for somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 12 different staff members covering the CrossFit Games, including a live show, heard it here first, that is going out on Facebook and YouTube 3 times a day, covering the sport, having a big presence, physical and digital, overhauling our site, managing all of that, creating statistics and leaderboards and graphics and content and analysis and everything that you'd want to have and digest over the 5-day period of the CrossFit Games is a little bit overwhelming. So I'm leveling with you. I'm not perfect at this, but I can tell you what, I'm going to continue trying to get better because I've learned a heck of a lot in this grand experiment of the morning chalk up and creating a company from scratch and building it into something that I think is super cool. So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes on, what is this, Monday evening at like 10 as I'm ready to hit my next shift of games planning and preparation. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about where we came from. I felt really inspired to do that. Not exactly sure why, but look, this is a journey and I'm trusting that process and learning it as I go. And I'm just so inspired that so many people are tuning in and doing that, and that's super cool. So if there's ways that we can improve, if there's things that we can do better, if there's things that I can do better, I'm all ears. I don't always have it figured out. So you can always leave a comment in the comment section. You can send me an email. It's justin@morningchalkup.com. I will get to it. Thanks for being a part of the family.